The Dode Fox Podcast.
So welcome to episode 9 of the Dode Fox Podcast with me, Ronny Costello, and him, Paul McNichol. It sounds like we're constantly repeating ourselves every week at this bit, but honestly, we can't thank everyone enough for listening and being part of the podcast. The comments, the discussions, and everything else on social media is brilliant, and without you all, the podcast doesn't really happen. We are at Dode Fox Podcast, if you're not already following. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and that's our SoundCloud address as well. We're on all the podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. And this week, why not tell a fellow Arab all about us, and they might just get involved as well.
Coming up on this week's episode, the United shop is going to bankrupt me, Dunfermline away, steak Bridies, the away ground food league table, derby preview, the season ticket holders football department Q&A, an evening with Andy McLaren for the Community Trust, the loan report, an update on the Jim McLean statue fund, and on young Ryan McInnes, who was injured a few weeks back. Plus we've a shorter On This Day and a silver kissing guest. It's all coming up on episode 9 of the Dode Fox Podcast.
So Paul, here we are, our final episode of Single Figures, episode number 9, and before we get to East End Park action, let's talk about you being skint.
Absolutely
again.
Skint. Well, that's just what United are doing to me these days. But I've got to be honest, the alternate kit is actually bonnier than I first thought. I always thought it was quite nice, but upon seeing it in person, it's far better looking than like the pictures or the videos do it justice. And the wee lion rampant on the back is a thing of beauty as well, just at the bottom of the shirt. It's absolutely gorgeous. But I spent over £100 in the shop on Friday, so you're very welcome, Mr. Ogren. That's me living on no frills beans and no frills bread until payday now. Just a wee nod to Quicksave.
Quicksave past, yes. So
it's a lovely strip though.
When you went into the shop, obviously the young lad's getting his, it's getting his name, getting a number, full shebang, top shorts and socks.
Yeah.
Was there a certain other size picked up?
There was a couple of things that were of a certain other size that were picked up. Yeah, so I got myself a top as well, and I also got one of the Tangerine 50 t-shirts. Essentially, I was thinking, right, I'm getting 20% off of this anyway, so that t-shirt's technically free. So
is that how you explained it to the wife? It was technically free.
She doesn't need to know.
Even better.
Doesn't need to know.
Even better. So the top was bought. I saw Leo with it on Friday night. He was showing it off for the full kit.
Yeah, he's had it on, what is this? This Sunday as we record this. Yeah, he's had it on twice. Yeah.
Yeah, for full stints, I imagine.
Yes, yeah. Full stint, full strip, been washed once, worn twice. It'll be back in the washing machine this evening.
Yeah, no doubt at all. So, on to Saturday, not with the alternate kit. A 2-0 win against Dunfermline. Mark Conley missed out. Ian Hartz came in. Cam Butcher went into centre half. When you seen the lineup, I have to say, even with Connolly out and seeing Butcher going back, and we'll just put on, Paul was at the game. I didn't manage to make it to the game. I did see most of it, but we'll not go into those reasons how I managed that. And I saw the team and I wasn't worried at all. I wasn't worried. I don't know if this is a depth, a quality, squad quality in depth, if that's the right phrase. Not problem, but if it's a nice wee luxury to have that, see whoever comes in. I was quite comfortable yesterday, and going by the 90 minutes, he kind of done pretty well, did the old Butch.
He done very well, yeah. When I first saw the team, I certainly wasn't worried, but I did think that we would miss Connolly's presence at the back, because Dunfermline are traditionally quite a big, strong side. But as you say, no, we never missed him at all. For the game itself, first half, United were absolutely outstanding. They were on the front foot from the get-go. We hemmed Dunfermline back in their own half. They didn't have an answer. Scored 2 good goals, could have scored more. The whole team, bar Siegrist, played well. And, you know, you're probably thinking, well, how did Siegrist not play well? Siegrist never had a thing to do. He could have joined the queue to get a steak Bridie. He had that little to do. And that queue, you would have been in there for 35 minutes, by the way. But he could have been in that queue. He had absolutely nothing to do. Butcher was outstanding coming in for Connolly. Harks was excellent coming in for Butcher.
And that's a big testament to Ian Harkes as well, because he hasn't played much.
No.
Really had to bide his time and really took his chance. And we'll obviously, in this whole part, we'll touch on the next game that's coming up. Do you think, and we will get back to the game, do you think it gives Robbie Neilson something to think about for Friday night? Or do you think he'll go back to the settled four and then there has to be another change in midfield? Because I think it's quite harsh if someone does miss out on that.
Yeah, it would be harsh because that's probably the best that we've played all season. Second half was definitely a bit of a drop-off from the first half. But again, we were fairly comfortable all that half. We missed an open goal. We missed a penalty. Louis had a couple of chances.
We don't talk about penalties in this show anymore.
No, even Shankland can't have scored penalties at this club. So it would, if somebody is left out, and obviously I'm guessing the one that would come back in would be Connolly, because he was the only one missing there. So you would think if he's fit and Neilson sees that he wants him back in the team, then it would probably be Harkes that would probably make way for him, because Stanton was excellent again yesterday.
You might be able to correct me on this, as what most of our listeners do when we give a Dode Fox podcast fact, that is. Sam Stanton's really struggled to finish games.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the Inverness, I can't mind if he took a knock or it was maybe cramp, but again yesterday.
Yeah, he took a knock yesterday. He was
right,
down,
okay.
He was down for a wee bit.
Yeah, I seen all of the first half and as much as I could of the second half, but I did see again he was limping and went off, and Adam King finally got in the park.
Yeah, he come on. He done a job when he came on.
You know,
his role's fairly unspectacular, to be honest with you. But he come on. He done a job. It was kind of like having Butcher back in midfield. That's the sort of role that he seems to fulfil. But yeah, Stanton came off again. So whether or not there's underlying fitness issue, I don't know. I know that he had a long-standing problem with his knee a couple of years back, and that was a limit in how often he was able to train. So I don't know if that's still an issue with him or not. But I mean, if he's given us an excellent 70-75 minutes every week, you'd probably take that. Yeah,
no, I agree. It's something again I noticed yesterday that he had come off again, and it's one of them you always kind of do wonder. But again, Ian Hart's got 90 minutes, and you've got 10-15 minutes of Adam King to at least get on the park, and the big man, albeit for whatever it was,
2 minutes,
got on, and again it was just one of them. You're like, I'm glad he's back.
Yeah.
And it shows. But again, just look at the people that didn't get on. Again, I know
Tommy Smith,
Spurler was back on, obviously, kind of the enforced. No Scott Banks.
Yeah.
No Logan Chalmers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so depth. It's looking pretty good at the moment.
It is. Everything's rosy in the garden currently, but it's always going to be when you win your first 3 games in the league. And I mean, even me and you were speculating a few weeks back. The first 4 games are tricky, you know. And Christ, we've kind of, I don't want to say easily, but the first game was very good. The second game we had to grind that one out. And yesterday was, I don't want to say easy again, but it was comfortable. It was a comfortable win yesterday, and they played it with no shortage of style as well in that first half.
Certainly in control. You know, controlled games.
Yeah, I felt like we were completely in control yesterday, for sure. And we were a bit wasteful in front of goal, to be honest with you. I mean, there was one in the first half, and I think it was their keeper maybe sclaffed a kick out or something. I mean,
it's a great word, isn't it?
I do like a good sclaff. But I think he sclaffed it to Shankland, who you're just thinking, just hit it. Everything you hit seems to end up in the back of the net. And he passed it to Louis Pair, and you're thinking, right, okay, you hit it, because you've got a chance here. And he didn't, and he tried to cut it back to Shankland, and yeah, we made a bit of an arse of that one. But, I mean, we want to now. And it was as comfortable as you could imagine. It was, what I'll say about the goals, they were a little bizarre in the sense that, especially the first goal, second goal as well, but especially the first goal, when Shankland, he took it, he held the man off, and he hits the shot, and it goes in. Nobody knew it was in. I wasn't into it, because he kind of runs away towards the wild Dunfermline fans in that the stand at the side of the pitch, and it's not until he channels his inner Alan Shearer and he's got one arm in the air, you're thinking, Christ, that's in the net, because it looked like it hit the board behind the net, and it then hit the back of the net. So it was a bit of a delayed reaction to the goal, but the Bairn got picked up all the same as soon as we realised. So
it's a good goal. It's a really good goal.
And he scores all sorts.
Yeah,
he scores all sorts.
See the second goal, and I kind of have to agree with the goalie should probably save it. But you know what? We've conceded goals like that too many times over the years.
Yeah.
So to get a wee bit of luck going for you, and when you're in goal scoring form, you'll always get a little bit of luck.
Yeah.
Your touch is really good. You get the ricochet into your path or whatever. But the 2 goals yesterday are so different. So different. And 2 assists for Paul McMullen as well.
The second one especially. Like, he got the ball, I think it was in his own half possibly. He rips the man, gets down the line, and he puts in an early cross and an absolute cracker over cross as well, right onto Shankland's sizable forehead. And the power that he can generate for that forehead obviously was too much for their keeper.
Shankland now 7-3 in the league, 7 goals in 3 games, and he's now 9-7 in all competitions. Yeah. He's all right, isn't he?
He's had a decent start. But he missed a penalty.
Yeah, but
I'm holding that against.
Anyway, so but again, another 2 goals and just everything about it was
brilliant.
Was good.
It was excellent.
Another 30 minutes for Peter Pawlett.
Yeah.
And you want to?
He done all right, but I'm going to slate him. Like, I haven't seen it back yet, so by the time people listen to this, people will probably have watched it back on Arab Zone, and they may or may not see that the keeper gets a touch onto the pass from Shankland. But at the time, my God, it was the worst miss that I've ever seen in football. How he managed to contrive to put that ball from, he may even have been closer to the Dunfermline goal line than he was at Partick Thistle when he scored, and he still managed to, I'm not even sure if it went over the bar or around the post, because I was almost lifting the Bairn up, because that was the third. That was the end of the game. We'd won then. But no, it just sailed wide or over or whatever.
If you've watched on Arab Zone, he does defend himself to the hill.
He has to. He has to.
Keeper got a touch, it hit his other foot and whatever.
I know, but it was all's well that ends well. And it's worth mentioning as well, 2,500 fans went through. That is absolute madness.
Incredible.
I mean, that's almost, I'm rubbish at maths, but that must be like 30-40% of our home crowds. What teams take that much through away games? It's unbelievable. And they were right behind us for the whole game as well. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, we put a tweet out on Saturday, just when the club had put out about the fans, and we retweeted it with a comment, and just again the comments you get on the back of it, incredible, brilliant, loved it, great day out, all those kind of things. And the positivity is absolutely huge. And I think Robbie Nielsen said it, I'm pretty sure Tony Asgar said it, and we've said it as well. It's a lot easier for the fans when the team are doing the business.
Yeah.
A lot easier.
Yeah, of course it is.
And I think, and we've said it before, and I don't want to sound like we're repeating ourselves, but when a club the size of Dundee United get beat at home to East Fife, we can't forget about it. But the response to it has been incredible.
Yeah, it's been as good as it could possibly have been.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And for that, and again, the strength and depth, the way we're scoring different goals, how, like Mark Reynolds said, let's do the simple things, let's do them a little bit quicker. We're doing things a bit quicker. We're getting the ball down. And I think Paul McMullen, when he got the ball and he nips it past the left back, he's catching him.
It's like he only had one thought in his mind, just get straight down that line and then cross it in for Sir Lawrence.
And he knew he had the beating of him.
Yeah, he's got the beating of most defenders that he's going to come up against in this league.
And it was just 2 very different goals, a real nice, a good style of play. We're comfortable on the ball, we don't panic on the ball, and we can play in tight spaces, we can play it long. We're really starting to mix it up a lot.
Yeah.
How's the Nicky Clark thing going for you?
He put a shift in yesterday, and
I think he raises his game a little bit against them. He celebrated like he scored the goal, which I loved.
Thoroughly enjoyed the first goal. Certainly, I'm not sure how he celebrated the second one, but certainly the first one, he was on the back of the boys' shoulders, and smiling, shall we say, at the home fans. But he done all right. He had a couple of chances himself. He was unlucky, certainly at the very start of the second half. Where I think it was maybe Shankland headed it back to him, because obviously Shankland just does everything. He headed it back to him and he just popped it past the post. But I couldn't fault him yesterday. Like, but he's still. I will maintain until I'm in my grave. He's not a left midfielder, and I would imagine that the manager knows that as well. But currently, he's the best option in his eyes.
Man of the match.
Well, from going on a lot of people what they're saying on social media, like I'm not going to pick the guy who's the popular choice. I'm going with Shankland because it was between Shankland and Butcher for me anyway, and I went with Shankland because scoring goals is the hardest part of a football match. That's why the strikers like traditionally got paid more. You had to pay more to get strikers, and Shankland has done that twice yesterday. Butcher though was absolutely immense, so that's in no way a slight on him, but Shankland scored the goals.
So we go, man. The match for yesterday from us goes to Lawrence Shankland. Talking of the away fans, can we just give a mention, by the way, to Barry McCourt, who was part of the away crowd, obviously went down on the train, and his train in Dunfermline was cancelled back to Dundee, so he ended up on a Hibs bus going back to Aberdeen. So he tweeted this and said, "Don't ask," and he tagged us in it, and we, of course,
we're asking,
asked the question. So basically what happens, so the train was cancelled, and Barry tweeted us back this morning. He said his United supporting mate who lives in Aberdeen got in touch with Hibs supporting mate who runs a Hibs bus from Aberdeen, and they were 15 minutes away from Dunfermline, so they came and picked them up due to the ScotRail cancelling their train.
That's class.
So, and they tagged them in, and the guy John from the Hibs bus said glad to help out, and said they were total lifesavers and that. So good on them as well.
Yeah, that's
that,
brilliant.
Which I thought was quite amusing.
That's a feel good story.
And one comment we got as well after the game on Saturday, I just want to mention, thanks to Murdo for tweeting us. He says, "You guys reckon 10 points in the first 12 would be good? Thoughts now, it's got to be 12 out of 12. Yeah, I have to agree. I think our momentum's there. Yeah, our momentum's with it. We're in very good form. Mm-hmm. You know, we're playing some good stuff. And it's going to be noisy on Friday, and I cannot wait. Yeah,
it should be good. Well, when we said that we wanted 10, was that what... I mean, I can't remember back. Was that like the minimum that we... wanted?
Yeah, pretty much the minimum expect from the 4 games.
So that is still the minimum that I'm wanting. Mm-hmm. I'm not looking to lose on Friday, but we've got all the momentum. We're the form team. I know people say that it goes out the window when it's a derby, but does it really? It's just a game, 3 points. It's a big game. Don't get me wrong, massive. And we'll see how big it is when it kicks off, because all the stands will be full. And
by the way, a massive shout to all the Arabs who have bought tickets. Friday night, which I am growing to love, Friday night football, only when it's scheduled correctly, as in well within an hour travel.
Yeah,
because
so
it's
a Dundee derby,
right?
Makes perfect sense.
On the TV, to sell out our allocation, don't know about them yet. Well, they've moaned about that enough. But to sell out our allocation for that is phenomenal. Now,
way in advance.
Bearing in mind, there were sections in the shed closed as it was, segregation, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The demand.
Yeah, it was there.
Huge. Absolutely brilliant. And I think some people have actually traded off their season tickets seat as well, haven't they? To go in the shed, which I think is brilliant.
Yeah.
But to be behind both goals and the Dode, as was tradition, phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal for each and every one of you.
Yeah. Hats off. It's I can't wait. I really can't wait. It's going to be some night.
For you, in terms of team, you've kind of mentioned is that the only change you would see, or would you maybe see a Paulett in for a Clark? Or, I mean, I think at home, and Dave Bowman says this on Arab Zone this week on about the derby, and he referred to us as though, not in the sense we are them, but in terms of being the Rangers and Celtic of the Championship that everyone wants to beat.
Yeah.
As in, top of the tree, and that's people will raise their game and stuff, and I think they will. But at the same time, we shouldn't tweak what we do for anyone. We should play exactly as we've been playing for the 3 games.
Yeah.
Exactly. Personnel changes, I agree. I don't know how close Paul is to starting, but if you get a shift like Nicky Clark put in yesterday, I can kind of live with that.
Yeah.
If Paul it's not 100%, I would probably expect if he's not, him and Osmond So will probably start the following week against Arbroath in the Tummocks.
In the Cup. Yeah, I would think so. But for the derby, as we said a couple of minutes back, I think it's going to be harsh if somebody is left out.
Yep.
But again, it would be harsh if Connolly's fit and he's left out because he's not done anything wrong either. So, yeah, Robbie's got a decision to make this week, that's for sure, if everybody's fully fit.
Yeah, it's going to be it's going to be a great week. I think the build-up will be really good. I imagine the club will do a lot of good stuff as well. There'll be a lot of good previews. And from both sides, I think it should be like that.
Yeah.
And it's the same for when it's at Dens. It should be the same. We should get, except for them, and we still expect all the derbies to move one way or another, Friday or Sunday or whatever. But I tell you what, the Friday night, you win the game, your weekend's lemon good.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
especially you win a derby.
It's
walking about the city with taps off. Doesn't matter.
Taps in the half position. I mean, it's a sight, really. But anyway, we shall move on. We're looking forward to that. Really looking forward to the derby on Friday night. And we don't have to spend a lot of time on about it because I think everyone's getting said on social media, which has been great. People are really getting into it and having some good banter with it, and that's the good thing about it. You know, you can have a bit of stick with guys in your work or family members or whatever, and on the Monday you take a bit of stick. The Tuesday you're all fine again.
Yeah,
you know,
we'll see.
Because regardless of result, we're still top of the league. Stad Dan.
Correct. But we absolutely want to beat them, though.
Definitely.
Make no mistake.
Definitely.
What about the away ground food table?
That's exactly where I'm going, sir.
Have a word about that.
So, the infamous food of East End Park is, of course, the steak bridie. And sometimes, for reference purposes, you can't just have one.
I would say all the time for reference purposes.
Okay. So, again, it is up to my esteemed colleague here to update us on the away ground food league table.
Well, for me, the Bridies were excellent, but the queues were an absolute disgrace. As I mentioned when we were speaking about the actual game, boys were in the queue for about half an hour.
Yeah.
What's going on? It's an absolute farce. Just get a couple more staff, and the boys are hungry. You're getting closer to the queue and you're thinking, shit, I've been in this for 25 minutes. I hope there's a Bridie left. Or I'm going to grab the youngster out of the till and give them a kicking. But yeah, I managed to get a couple for myself because I'm greedy. Basically, that's the reason for it. But they were both delicious.
Research.
No, I'm greedy. Maybe yours is down to research when you go. But
well, I mean, I appreciate you sending me the photo of the two.
Well, I knew that you were missing.
Thanks. Thanks. Paul texted me and said, I'm having one for you, which is clearly a blatant lie in what he's just said there. But you didn't just stop at two, really, did you?
Well,
I'll just out you now. Okay. You didn't stop at two, did you?
No, well, I'm sitting with a young lad, so Leo's making his way through his first steak bridie at Dunfermline, and he leaves the whole crust. So he hands me this thing that looks like a smile, which in turn made me smile. And then I demolished that as well, because you can't be wasting food.
Well,
you can't be wasting food.
So, as always with the Food League table, marks out of 10.
I'm going to give it an 8. Only because the queue soured the whole experience. I am that petty.
So that means that the Stenhousemuir steak cheeseburger retains top spot with its magnificent 9 out of 10. Yeah. And for those who did correct us, and for those who glossed over it when I tweeted out and it was my autocorrect changed it to a steak birdie. We don't know what's in them.
No,
imagine they are steak. But thank you very much to people who took the
there was a few
piss out of me quite a lot. And the funniest thing was, the first time I got it, I didn't even realise. I thought, what are they on about? And then I looked back and went, aha, I see what I have done. So that was much hilarity. So there we go. The away ground Food League table is updated for now. So last week, a couple of events for fans to go along to. And on Thursday night, you went along to the season ticket holders football department Q&A.
I did. It was a very good evening. I thought it was very open. You were able to ask any questions as we thought. But it was slightly different from the ones in the past that I've been to, in a sense that Tony Asghar, he started and he gave a presentation about the vision of the club, and he kept reiterating that the fans need to buy in to what the club are trying to do. And, you know, I think in fairness we are. You just look at the crowds that have been going and that are continuing to go. Then Robbie Nielsen gave a presentation after Tony about how he prepares the team for matches and also about formations during games. That obviously raised a bit of a chuckle, because that's the thing that fans kind of pick up on quite a lot, these formations. And he kept emphasising like humility, work ethic, team first. And it was, for a dafty like me, going along to these things, it was fascinating, the sports science side of it, because all these sessions are planned weeks in advance, and they know that they're going to be working on a pitch 40 metres by 40 metres, and they're going to work hard for 4 minutes and get a minute off, and the session's going to last X amount of time. It's absolutely, it's so in depth these days, so in depth. There's a bit of me that thinks, are we overcomplicating things here? Because have football's been around for 100 years? Was it always like this? Because it was pretty good back in the day. But the amount of work that goes in behind the scenes that none of us will ever see is fantastic. So, I mean, basically, he was having a laugh as well with the formations. What was he saying? He was on about 4-4-2. And he was like, well, we'll play 4-4-2 this season so far, which is correct, he says. But he says, when I play the 4-2-3-1 or whatever system we've been playing the last few years, he says, to him it's no much different. I would probably argue that point, but to him it's not much different, because he's saying you're only saying, well, this guy, instead of being 5 yards back here, he's just 5 yards further forward. But it doesn't look that way when you're watching the games last season and then this season. It's night and day to me anyway. But he was very good. He was very open and honest. After his presentation, it was Gordon Forrest. He then stood up, and I think he was given a presentation about like the youngsters in the team, but I missed that because my young lad was needing to go to the toilet. So sorry, Gordon, I wasn't walking out because you were born as the wee man was going to pee his breeks.
Yeah.
After that, the floor was then open to questions, and as I say, there was nothing that you couldn't ask, and everybody got asked questions from Lee McCulloch. Again, I can't even remember what the hell he was asked, but he did get asked something. Mark Reynolds showed up on the night in a blue jumper, so that got raised. I mean, what's going on there?
What shade?
It was a light blue, which in his defence was his defence, basically. It was put to him, you know, because he'd actually just answered a question, and he said, look, I want my sons or my kids to go to school and be proud that, you know, the fact that their dad plays for Dundee United and he's the Dundee United captain, and I want them to walk about with their shoulders back and their heads up. And then boys were like, well, wait a minute here, what have you showed up at United Q&A for wearing a bloody blue jumper? He's like, oh, you know what? I had a grey jumper laid out and I had a blue jumper laid out, and I was going to put the grey jumper on, and my wife said, oh no, you look better with the blue jumper on. Yeah, it's
his wife's fault.
It's the wife's, but he blamed the wife. He blamed the wife, and he was like, yeah, but blue's Dundee. She was like, yeah, but they're dark blue. That's light blue. He's like, but I probably shouldn't wear it. So basically, Mark Reynolds is under the thumb. That was the main takeaway from the whole evening. He is under the thumb.
Would you tell him that to his face?
I reckon I could take Mark Reynolds. What do you reckon, Mark?
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. Please welcome to the show.
All right, buddy.
So, in terms of some of the, I'm assuming there was obviously comments and questions sort of raised. Anything raised at Robbie or what he maybe thought when he first come in compared to now, or did Andy ask about building the squad, or was there anything kind of that?
One of the common themes was that, and I think it was maybe Tony Asghar, Robbie himself, and Lee McCulloch. They all felt surprised. Now, I don't know if it's just paying lip service or not, who knows, but they all said they were surprised at how big a club that United are. And again, I'm always a wee bit sceptical when I hear people saying that. Are they just saying it because they want us to hear that or not? But that was one of the things that was mentioned. Mark Reynolds, and I think this may have been put out on United's Twitter, where his intention in January was just to come here So most people will know. But yeah, his intention was just to come here to get fit and then go back up the road and win a contract with Aberdeen.
Yeah, a couple of years later, get a testimonial, that kind of stuff. Is what he said.
So he's either fell in love with United, or his wife has demanded that he sign for United.
Well, going with the exclusive you've given us, that might be it.
I think Mrs. Reynolds pulls the strings.
That might be it. But an enjoyable evening overall.
It was great. Yeah, it was great. And there's a plan. Tony Ascar mentioned they'll do another one probably mid-season, so maybe December, January time, I would imagine. Yeah, so I would recommend anybody that couldn't go to the last one there. And there were apologies made for the short notice of it, but I think it was because of the East Fife result that was kind of mentioned, and some of the Twitter backlash that was going on after that result. So that was why that they had this at such short notice. But there will definitely be another one, and if you couldn't make the past one there, get yourself along to it. Any questions, fire away.
And you were allowed out for a second night in the trot as well. Oh, sorry, it's Mark Reynolds that's under the thumb.
Yeah, no, mate, I'm good.
So on Friday night, there was an evening with Andy McLaren, which was for the Dundee United Community Trust's work in recovery and mental health. First off, they raised over £700.
Yep, for a great cause.
For a great cause. And the quick update before we go into the evening, the Kiltwalk team from the Community Trust, it's now at over £8,000, about $8.5 grand, I think it is as well.
That's phenomenal.
And you can still donate, and I speak to some people who are still carrying the bruises.
I thought you were going to say still walking.
Well,
surely everybody's finished by now.
They might be.
Yeah.
Who knows?
We're not judging them at all.
But some people still got the bruises and whatever, and the blisters to show for it. And some people going, I'm going to sign up for another one.
Yeah.
But talking of Kiltwalk, actually, Andy McLaren revealed he's done a couple of Kiltwalks.
Yeah, he's done. Did he not say he'd done the Dundee one?
He has, yeah.
He'd done the Glasgow one and Brazil. Did he not say he's done something in Brazil? He's
done a hike in Brazil. Now, my apologies to his mate, who I think was called Stuart, that spoke to me about it. He said, we need, give that a mention. We went to Brazil and done this hike, and it was just basically what happened on the evening if he didn't make it. So Paul Reid probably had a better offer elsewhere, so I stepped in to host the evening for the Community Trust. So the first half of it was in conversation with myself and Andy. Then we had a break, and then there was a Q&A. We opened up to the floor, and he was brilliant in the fact he was quite happy to answer any question. And during the break,
the 20-minute
break, which was 40 minutes, he went and met with every single person in the room. He got his photo with every single person in the room, and he was an absolute delight. He was such good company. And there was a raffle which helped raise some of the money, and there was 2 signed pictures by Andy. There was Centeno Hospitality, all that kind of stuff. But the signed pictures were, one of them was the one they used in all the kind of marketing of the event as well, and he signed them. And the other one, he's wearing the pony strip, the Telewest logo, and he says, I've never seen me concentrate so much on a football park in my life, because he is so into it. But if you didn't make it, it was a real intimate evening, which was great. I mean, there was less than 100 people there, but it was a real close feel up in the West End, flooring suite, and it was just fun, wasn't it? It was
brilliant.
Good fun.
There was most of the night I was hanging on his every word when he's telling you these stories. Some of them that affect him personally, some of them that were like about the United teams that I watched growing up, and yourself, Ron. It was just fantastic, it really was. And he could not have been a nicer guy. I mean, I was a bit nervous meeting him, but he was an absolute superstar.
Yeah, he was a delight. He had some really good stories on it. And again, so, like say some of the questions, like people are asking, what do you think about the betting companies being involved with the league? And he was very passionate. He talked very passionately about that. And we even got into what do you think of VAR? And
well, he was passionate about that as well.
Yeah, I hate it. It's basically what he said. But it was just a brilliant night. And for the Community Trust as well, it was great for them. It was a huge thing they do. Basically, it was to help their work in recovery and mental health. If you want to get any more details on the trust, and I think we both spoke to Jamie, who runs the trust, and everyone else. Paul was there, Michael was there, and a couple of the other guys. Connor was there, and apologies to the names I didn't get. Just really nice guys. They're a great team. They're so passionate about what they do as well.
Yeah.
Shouts to Paul, who actually said to me, He's an employee of the club. He's not from around here. He's not a fan, but he says he feels like a fan because he listens to this podcast because of all the things that we kind of cover. And that's what we.
Paul's a good lad.
Try to do.
It's very helpful.
Has he do you a favour or something? Was that bribery or
not at all? Not at all. I'm just pouring my heart out. No.
Didn't you get a couple of pies on Friday as well? By the way,
no. I got a couple of pie vouchers.
Right, okay.
But I never cashed them in. Got them in my hipper for next year.
He says that. But the Community Trust are hoping to do kind of similar events down the line and whatever else that they can do. But it was brilliant. The club really helped out begin the West End floor. And Andy gave up his time, and everyone that bought in for a tenner, you were suitably entertained. Because I think in the kind of planning of the night, we maybe thought, it'll maybe last a couple of hours. So the first half went on for an hour and 10 minutes of just me and Andy in conversation. And then we had the 40-minute break because Celeb was in the house.
And there was a lot of ladies giving Andy a lot of attention.
Yes. And the Q&A probably was about 30-40 minutes or something as well, and a great range of questions like, how did he manage to get picked up to he was on Radio Scotland and what are you doing now and stuff
charity
like
work
that
he was involved in.
So it was a brilliant event. And if you want to get any more info, by the way, in the Community Trust, which is what I was trying to say, is go to their Facebook and their Twitter, Dundee United CT on there. They've got loads of stuff on, like they've got holiday camps, they've got kind of other extracurricular stuff, they've got loads of events. You get involved with all the football sessions and all that kind of stuff as well. Now, with mentioning the evening with Andy McLaren, it brings us rightfully to our guest this week. Part of the Scottish Cup winning side of 1994. In total, he made 250 appearances, scoring 23 goals over 2 spells at Tannadice. And in 2016, he was inducted into the Dundee United Hall of Fame. So our guest this week on the Dode Fox podcast is Andy McLaren. Andy, thanks for getting up some of your time.
No problem, Ronnie. Great to be here.
Yeah, we do appreciate it. You're obviously in town for the Q&A. Obviously, when this goes out, you'll have done that. But another event you've come up to do. Do you like doing these kind of events, the Q&As?
Yeah. It's something I'm doing a lot more. They're always good fun as long as people buy into it. And the question's only too dodgy. Then as I say, I always look for it. And it's, as I say, it's great to be back up here. Even driving in, I still get to be butterflies when I drive down the Provy Road and see the floodlights. It brings back a lot of great memories, and some not so great as well. But no, brilliant. Always good to be back.
And the last time you were up you were also on the park at half time in the Inverness game. A lot of great ovations for everyone that come on the park from old to new. Yeah. How does that make you feel?
It's very humbling. I've obviously been away from the club for 10-15 years, and to still get that reaction, after all that time, it's kind of humbling. You see the reaction.
Is it surprising to you though?
That's a wee bit,
yeah. Because as United fans, it's obviously it's not surprising to us. But
listen, when you get back up and you speak to guys and stuff, you realise the impact that some of the games I played in had. Obviously, cup final was a massive one, wasn't it? And that was 25, 26 years ago. So to play in the first ever United team to win the Scottish Cup, I think you're always going to have a special place in certain fans' hearts.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's pretty special. Let's take you right back then. Yep. You got picked up. You signed in 1989. Jim McLean. How does that come about?
Well, listen, before that, I probably signed his form when I'm probably about 85, 86. God, we're going back
a little bit.
And round about that time, there was a few teams wanted to sign me, but Dundee United had a kind of a base in Glasgow, where they used to train. Graham Livingston was the head scout through there. So, listen, all through the 80s and 90s, there was loads of boys come up for Glasgow. We used to train Thursday night, and we Jim used to come down and watch training, the S-form training. You say that to people now and they don't believe it. It's like, could you imagine? I don't know, Jose Mourinho turning up to watch the S-forms or something.
Yeah.
So. For 85, 86 round about, I signed S-forms, And round about that time, we used to come up and watch the games. We used to come up to the European games, you know, like University Craiova and the Barcelona games and all that. And I can remember staying off school because I'd just signed, and I think we were watching University Craiova. It was on BBC Two. It's amazing the things that stick in your head, you know. But I kind of became a fan by that point, you know, because listen, Dundee United were very successful, you know. And during the 80s, it was always a time where Scottish football, you supported whatever team was in Europe. You know, I think it's kind of get away from that a bit, you know. But you'd Aberdeen beating Real Madrid, you'd Dundee United beating Barcelona, you'd Hearts beating Bayern Munich, you know. So you've Celtic beating Real Madrid, you know. So you'd all these great games, you know. Like, and you used to watch them and kind of aspire to be them, you know, because you had all these great Scottish football players that you could look up to. Yeah,
well, I can remember going to the games. I'm a wee bit older than Ronnie, and especially the European games, when you would come down early, there would always be like a schoolboys game on before them. Did you ever play in any of them?
I played in a few of them. I played before the Barcelona game. The goalkeeper never turned up, and I went in goals. and they blew for half time, and I was actually I'd turned round by this point and was just looking at the shed, just watching all the crowd coming in, you know.
The crowds were massive.
It was brilliant, you know. I played in a lot of them, and they were that was wee Jim's mind games, you know, because there was a rule at the time that the opposing team could only get on 45 minutes before the game or whatever, so it kind of interfered with their warm-up. So it was part of wee Jim's, so we would be on. I mean, I can remember coming off after the Barcelona game, and Lineker and Hughes and all these guys are walking by you, and you're walking past them in the tunnel, you know. So I must have been 13, 14, you know. It's amazing for the young guys as well, you know, because you're getting the crowds begin to come in, and it's your first experience of playing out there in front of a crowd as well, you know. So as a 13, 14-year-old kid, it was amazing, you know. But as I said, it was one of wee Jim's tactics as such, you know, to keep.
But that's interesting to hear that was probably part of the reason.
Well, that was a big reason. You know, people used to think it was to get it, but it was to keep the other team off the park, to interrupt their warm up or whatever, you know. So you talk about all the mind games you Jim played. That was just one of them, you know. It was brilliant, you know, because as I said, you used to get teams and they'd be dying to go on. It's goalkeepers in that particular. They'd be like warming up on the track and stuff, and we would be on the park, you know. And it's something.
You're not even a goalkeeper.
No. Listen, as I say, I don't think I was to play. I think it was like an under-13 game that night, and I was coming up just for the game. I mean, I was at the Gothenburg game and all the games, but I was coming up for the game, and the goalkeeper gets stuck in traffic because I think there was people come from Scotland to watch the Barcelona game that night, and. So I end up in goals. I think I kept a clean sheet as well.
Just say you did. Going by the facts that we give out on this show, I can guarantee somebody will correct us if it's not right. That's for sure. How does it feel at kind of that age signing then, and you're in Glasgow, the Dundee United set up, and Jim McLean turns up?
It was amazing. It was, as I say, and he knew everybody's name and he knew everything about you. Not everything, but you know, it was. For a 13-year-old boy who'd watched Dundee United win the league and watched them play Roma and you know, in all these games, you know, and for this legend to come and know who you were. And one of my first memories is usually not a good one for me. I think it was about 13, 14, and he swore at me. We were warming up and I'd give the ball away, and McLaren, you slack C-word. And I'm like, and I went home and told my dad that night, and he says, "What do you mean?" I said, "Jim McLean swore at me." And he says, "What do you mean?" I says, "Well, I gave the ball away, and he told me to stop being slack." And he says, "Good." He says, "At least I knew who you are." You know, nowadays you'd probably get arrested for it.
Oh,
you know,
guaranteed.
It was a different time back in the days.
When would you have moved up to here then? When would that start?
I moved up to here in 1989, just after I played in the Under-16 World Cup.
I remember that.
There was 5
against the Under-35 Saudi Arabian team.
I've actually got a photo on my phone. I'll show you. It's ridiculous. I played in that tournament. There was 5 Dundee United players with me, Gary Bowen, Tam McMillan, John Lindsay, and Eddie Convo. I think John Lindsay played, Gary played, and Tam McMillan played in the final. I came on as a sub and scored a penalty, and then a couple of weeks later I came full time here.
A United player scored a penalty?
I know, it's unheard of right now.
Unheard of.
Always scored penalties.
We didn't do it these days.
Didn't do us any good. We get beaten penalties, so. But I still maybe hung my boots up after that. And it's going to the World Cup final. It's going to be downhill for you.
So obviously at that age, you're what, 16, 17? Oh, I'm assuming into digs.
Yes.
And how did that go? There must have been good characters around about then.
It was good. It was hard. I'm not going to lie. You know,
Jobs and stuff,
no,
responsibilities.
it was even that. It was like 16 being away from home.
Yeah.
You know, you used to come up on a Monday morning, stay all week, and then you'd go home. Used to play a lot of reserve games on a Friday night, so you used to maybe play a reserve game on a Friday night, go home on the weekend. But first wee while I found it difficult. I'm going to be honest. Football wise, I didn't, but I was used to being home and going out with my mates at night and things. So you finish here. Listen, you've been all day. You've been here at 4 or 5 o'clock. You go home and go to your digs. I'd digs in Clepby Road. I was in a few different digs.
Horterbank, Lochie.
I was never. I had a flat in Lochie for a spell. That was fun.
No, that I was stalking you, but somebody says you might ask Andy about his flat in Lochie.
That was me and John O'Neill, and then John O'Neill left, and I was kind of stranded in the Lochie.
The king of Lochie.
So,
in terms of who would have been your youth team, who would have been the same guys as you? Who did you come
Christian
up?
Daly, Big Dunk. As I said, 5 guys I mentioned that played with Scotland. Alec was a year older, 2 year older than us. John O'Neill, Paddy Conley, McKinnon, all these kind of guys.
It was a good youth team, though.
Our youth team was unbelievable.
We got to the final of the BP Youth Cup.
Oh, you won it twice.
We won it twice. Our youth team, from under 12s to under 18s, never lost a game. And we went to the Milk Cup in Ireland, won that. We won the Celtic had a tournament in 1988. It was a centenary tournament. And again, we were playing before the finalists were playing at Parkhead before one of Celtic's games, and we beat Celtic 4-1 in the semis, which didn't get down very well today, didn't it? But we'd a great team. Under 16, I played in the Youth Cup final. We get beat 1-0 out there with Celtic. Stevie Fulton scored the winner, and then the next 2 years we won it. We beat Hibs twice. And around about that time, our youth team was. If they'd had the kind of Champions League type things that they've got now, we would have. I think we'd have won it. I'm going to be honest. That was how strong your youth team was at that point.
Yeah, there's a quote I'm pretty sure you said as well, and I think a couple of people have said it. But youth games were treated like first team games.
Unbelievable.
As in, was it as strict as how you dressed when you turned up and all that kind of stuff?
And wee Jim was there, and Loggy was there, and Stubby was there, and they were all there, and. They used to call it the Wages Cup because if you get put out it, they just find you, you know. It was, I remember one game we played up at Brecon and we were 5-0 up at half time. As I say, we had a really, really good, strong youth team. And we were 5-0 up at half time. Came in at the end of the game, we'd won 5-0, and we Jim absolutely ripped us apart.
Poor second half, sure.
Just you're not getting your bonus. We were on the £10 win bonus, and we never got our bonus.
Yeah.
Do you think that's not acceptable? But that's the way it was, you know. I've seen boys getting freed after a Youth Cup game. You know, I've seen, and it was treated the exact same as a first team game. You know, that was the standards we Jim set. You know, that was the way it was. You know, it was even as a 16-year-old, it was all about standards and 16, 17, you're in digs. You're trying to cut a few corners. You're being daft, and I always get caught out. You know, and it was never anything. Listen, I get fined all the time. You know, that's one of the things I look back and I think it wasn't.
Was it just daft things you were doing?
Aye, listen, it was never bad. It was
no, but that's a daft fine.
Aye,
like, it looking like sitting here today in 2019. If you were to say United won 5-0 and they got fined for, or they got cost their win bonus because they only won 5-0, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah. No, well, that's what it was. It was some of the things. Some of the things were very over the top. You know, me Jim was a genius, and no going to. But there was another side there that you know that some
well
people
documented.
Well, some people couldn't handle. You know,
I would imagine a lot of kids at the age of you were at 16, 17 would struggle with that.
Yeah,
because adults would struggle with it.
I've seen boys crumble. I've seen there's boys came up, boys came full time who just couldn't handle it. I mean. To see wee Jim in full flight was a joy to behold. I used to piss myself. I'm going to where I'm from, we were hard living, you know. So somebody shouting into my face, wasn't it? But some boys actually crumbled with it. You know, loads of was good players who just couldn't cope with it. Couldn't cope with the standards, the way you were. Don't know the way you were spoke to, because it's a man's game. You know what I mean? If you can't handle somebody swearing or whatever, then you're probably in the wrong game.
Yeah.
But sometimes it could be a wee bit too much, especially as you see a 16-year-old kid you spoke to. Certain ways.
Was there no any incidents that you can think of, like, because I'm guessing if somebody shouts at my bairn when he's 16, I'll not be very happy about it. Was there no any times when people's old men would come down?
There was, the best one was Big Dunk's father. Wee Jim was scared of Big Dunk's Big Dunk's father, because Big Dunk, that was the only person Big Dunk was scared of, so you can imagine what Big Dunk's father was like. But he'd go open one time outside Tannadice. I think the two of them were, well, I think Big Dunk was more into it than wee Jim. And I think coming towards the end, I think that's kind of why wee Jim went, you know, because I can remember him pointing into my face one day and me grabbing him. I grabbed his finger, and I wasn't trying to be disrespectful or that. I wouldn't let anybody speak to me like that, you know. Like, so I says, listen, shout at me all you want, but don't point into my face, you know. So there was. They called us the new breed. See, the younger ones that came up, they says we were all good players and we stood up for ourselves. You know, that's what it was. Big Dunk, you weren't going to shout at Big Dunk, and Big Dunk wasn't going to. I would say something back, guys like McKinnon and Paddy. Yeah, we had, you know, with opinions, you know. So see if we thought it was been out of order, we would say, you know, like. That came after a year or two with him, you know. But at the start, you would just sit there, you know. But as I say, the older you go, you would. I mean, I can remember Big Dave Neary, and Big Dave Neary's a hero of mine, you know. It's one of my earliest memories is watching him score against Brazil, and then 7-8 years later, I was sharing a dressing room with him, you know. So things like that for me were surreal, you know. But I remember wee Jim shouting at him. I can think, how can you shout at Big Sash? You know what I mean? He's Big Sash, you know. You shouldn't. And it was like it was doing it Dunfermline, you know. And Big Sash, fuck off, and just flinging his strip away. And I'm thinking, surely the big man's earned a bit of respect, you know what I mean? After for everything he'd done, you know. But that's the way we Jim. Listen, we all get treated the same, and I think that was one of his failings, because not everybody's the same. You know, you can shout at some boys, some boys you need to give them a wee cuddle or you know, or whatever, you know. So
I think in many ways, from what fans know of Jim McLean, like, he was definitely ahead of his time in some respects, but he was so behind it in others. We were doing, talk about sports science and all that, we were doing that 25 years ago. I can remember people coming in and to measure all our food and what we were eating, and I was convinced it was so he could check up on what you were drinking at the weekend, because we had a big meeting and it was, whatever you're drinking, just put it down, because it's really important. I'm thinking, no chance of me putting down what I'm drinking at the weekend. I was putting down like 3 cans of Budweiser and that. Used to have that on the way down the road, you know. But no, he was like all the sprint training and all that kind of stuff. We also had psychologists in. That was another good one. And she's right, we've got a psychologist coming in, everybody's to go. So we all went, and we went to get our wages at the end of the week, and there was 30-40 quid out of them. And I'm saying, no, that was to pay for the psychologist. I'm saying, nobody knew it, we didn't know. You didn't know we were having to pay for that. I wouldn't have went if you know, if the option was right, you go and you pay 30 or 40 bucks. 40 quid. We're not on a lot of money then, you know, and you're going to get your wages, they're 30, 40. And they'd done it with everybody. And so the boys were ringing seeing him, and he says, if you didn't have to pay, you wouldn't have took it in or something. I'm like, I wouldn't have went if I didn't have to pay for it. I'd have found something else to do that day. Definitely. With 30 quid. Yeah, definitely. Been a night out for me.
So after you win the Youth Cup a couple of times in a row, and then I suppose when you're being successful at that age and the youth and being confident players that you were, I take it you guys were just itching for the chance to go to get in the first team. Yeah,
well, we used to the reserves, as I say, the reserve leagues. We used to play every Monday night at the Gussie. And people at Harlem Globetrotters, to be honest, we used to battle teams 8 and 9-0. You know, the standard was that good. The players we had, you know, guys like McKinnon, Paddy Conley, myself, you know, Big Dunk would play some night. You know, it was unbelievable. You know, you'd be playing like a Breaking or a Broth or something, and the they just wouldn't get the ball off us. You know, we were just, boys were that good, and you know, like I said, we Jim would stand out at the far end, and you didn't want to be playing his side because he just gave you pelters. But never forget the boy Roy McBain.
Mind him.
He played. He was a couple of years younger than me, Roy, but I think Roy answered him back one day, and he took him off. And while the game was going on, he would just had them running up down the side of the park. You know? So I think the boys learned very quickly. Don't answer them back because he just took you off and had you down sides of the park while the game was going on.
Something else.
It was
just
listen. Back in the days, that was the way it was. You know, I mean, every club, guys like Eddie Hunter and Jock Stein, Fergie up at Aberdeen, they were all the same. It was a different culture then. It was different. It was kind of man's world, they say, wasn't it? You know what I mean? Hard living, hard. And if you couldn't handle that, listen. See, be fair. See if you couldn't handle wee Jim shouting at you, you're not going to handle 10,000 at their booing you. Or you go to Parkhead or Ibrox and you're getting pelters, you know. Yeah. So it grounded you, you know. If you could handle wee Jim into your face, literally there,
nose to nose,
with a big red face, basically shouting and screaming at you. Then, but as I say, I used to piss myself sometimes, you know, because see if it wasn't on you, you would be sitting there trying to not laughing because he's the things what's the word, the rants he went into was incredible. I've never seen anything like it, honestly, like just incredible. He used to come in and just take his jacket off and then he just 10-15 minutes he would just go mental and his face would be red, and he kicked but remember the old laundry baskets, all kind of plastic ones. He kicked one of them one day, and his foot got stuck in it and he was hopping about the dressing room, and Stuart Hogg, his sprint coach, was trying to pull it off his feet, but in the meantime he's still getting somebody absolute pelter, and the other boys are all absolute stitches, but just times like that, you know. And he used to make up words and swear words and everything, you know. I remember him calling me Joe McLeod on cunty hooks, he was calling him. The boys are all, you cunty hooks, and it was just, sometimes it could be funny, you know, as long as it wasn't you in the receiving end.
Oh, that's it. And of course he gave you your debut.
Yeah.
In 91 you come on, and Morris Maltbus testimonial was the first time you played.
Yeah, I played at Tannadice out there, and then a couple of months later I made my debut at McDermott. One each game came on. I think I came on for about the last 12 minutes or something. And as I say, that's what I'd been dreaming about for being a kid. You know, to go on and make your debut. And I don't remember too much about it, but I don't remember being fazed about it. You know, because it was the same environment as a reserve game, or you know, just a bit bigger crowd. But as I say, I was probably about 17, maybe just turned 18, and that was the thing with wee Jimmy, didn't he? He had no qualms about flinging young boys in, you know. Yeah. Nowadays, I read things and it's young guy at 21. I'd probably played 100 games by the time I was
Well, you know? Like the current team, Jamie Robson, he's 21.
Yeah,
he's played 100 games.
Yeah.
But in general, they seem to get protected an awful lot.
I've got, you know, 21-year-old, I'd won a Scottish Cup, you know.
Kind of sink or swim, isn't it, at that age?
Listen, see if you know.
Especially under Jim McLean.
And we'd trained, and you know, I was always fit. So you trained with the first team. We used to, even as a kid coming up, we used to come up during the summer holidays. Maybe as a 13, 14-year-old, and then in the afternoons you'd been doing crossing finishing when Billy Thompson in goals and guys like that, Big Clarkey and people like that, you know. So 13, 14-year-old kid, it was amazing. You're shooting into Billy Thompson. I still remember scoring against him when I was 13. I left foot shot, and I can remember being on the phone to my dad and all that. And it's just wee things like that were amazing. You know, nowadays it's not like that. You know, we would get the cash in the afternoons and day crossing and finishing or whatever, and some of the first team would be right away. You know, it was amazing. You know, so you're running about these guys all the time, so it's not like an us and them type thing either.
Yeah.
You know, didn't it?
Would you have been on one of the infamous Jim McLean contracts?
Aye. I think I've
still got that time.
I think I still got a year left in it on it. I was 4-year with a 4-year option. I signed that when I was 17.
Was the option always the clubs?
Aye.
Yeah.
The best one ever was one of the guys came in one day and he just signed, and he'd signed a 3-year and a 3-year option or something, and boys were saying, did you sign a 3-year with an option, but I don't know if I'm going to take the option up. And all the boys just busting into tears, laughter, you know, they're saying, look, it's not your option. I know, as he told me, so I had one of them. Listen, boys would probably love one of them now, if it was half decent money, but it was a few of the boys actually, I think they were illegal, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Got to be now, because it was a really low initial amount, but the win bonus and that was what made it up, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, she's a 17-year-old kid. I think when I first signed, I was on £45 a week, but 16-year-old, that
was your standard signing, kind of, yeah.
It wasn't about money. I just wanted that opportunity. You know, you used to get 45 quid and a 10 or 12 quid travelling expenses. So most Mondays I'd be skipping the train up for Glasgow, you know, at the weekend, or you'd been fined or something, because you'd get fined 20 quid for not putting your boots away, you know. It's half a week's wages, you know, for, you know, I know the standards, but sometimes you forget things and whatever, or no cleaning the street. You used to get,
tough love.
I remember getting fined for shaving when I was 16. I didn't even need to shave. Like, it was, I had a wee bit of bum fluff, and it was, you know, shaved today. I don't need to shave every
Never
day.
shaved. What are you talking about?
Maybe shave once a month or something. I had a wee bit of bum fluff, you know, and I get fined like 25 quid for it, which is half your wages, you know, and you're going down the road. And
John Holt had a tash.
well, there was, I don't know if it had to be clean shaven right enough. It was doing a bit of tash, but as I say, that was some of that kind of stuff was, you know, you were getting fined willy-nilly, you know. And
I could imagine it must have pissed a lot of people off at the time. I mean, we're sitting here laughing about it because it's a funny story.
But see, at the time, I can remember being in tears. You know, I was going down the road. My dad had just died that was long before it. So my mum had four kids to bring up, so there wasn't a lot of money, you know. It wasn't as if I could get down the road and say, I've just been fined, any chance 50 quid to get, it wasn't that wasn't.
And there's probably no comeback on it either.
No,
it's not that you can go to the union and say, wait, could you go in?
No, you couldn't. And it just used to fine you willy-nilly. It was like, you're no shaved, fine 25 quid. Or I remember we played in Gussie one night, and we beat a team about 6 or 7-0, and I get fined. They fined me 25 quid for no playing well. And I went up to, we used to have youth team games, and we used to go up to Whitey's bar after it, because my digs were just along, so you go in there, have about 3-4 pints, and get home with your digs. But I'm like, listen, I'm away, I can't do this anymore. I had a son when I was young and all that as well, so I had all that kind of stuff, and he was just fining you. I just thought, nah, I'm going down the road. And I went back to my digs, stayed that night, got up in the morning and just went down the road, and I went out to training. And by the time I get down the road, Luggy phoned my mum. She says, listen, it was just a wee fine and all that. Just tell me to get back up Monday. I'm like, I'm not going back up. I says, I'll go back up and they'll find me. And I went back up, and wee Jim had worded it and pulled me and says, you think you're trying to beat the club or something? You're fined 4 weeks' wages. You know, and I can remember walking away, I was fucking tears in my eyes, you know what I mean? I'm thinking, what am I meant to do, you know? What am I meant to do for 4 weeks if not get, you know, if there's nobody I can go and get money, you know, so it wasn't punished, you know. I can see the point of punishing somebody, but punishing somebody like that wasn't it wasn't right, you know. You're fucking working all week, you know, and you're going, you're not getting any money, and
for a month,
you know, you're trying to live, you know, and you've got a young kid down the road, and you're trying to get up and down for Glasgow, and you know, so it was that side that wasn't right, you know. But the other side, as I say, he was a genius. You know, the guy I learned so much. Everywhere I went after that, I just thought every manager I've ever worked under after that just didn't come anywhere near him.
After you get your debut, you're kind of in and out of the side for a couple of years, and then Ivan Golak comes in, and that's really a change when you start playing a lot more, and obviously it culminates in the end with winning the Scottish Cup. What was the change like from Jim McLean to Ivan Golak? Because as fans, I mean, I was 12 at the time, and I obviously had no idea who he was. But I think everyone sort of went, Ivan. I mean, he played a little bit at Southampton, but that was about it. But he comes in, and how did that go for you?
It was totally just a total
night and day.
Aye, you know, Listen, I enjoyed training under Ray Jam. It was always. I mean, we used to train up at the Cash, and you'd see his car coming over the hill. We'd got a bit earlier, set things up, get training started, and you'd see Wee Jim's car coming over the hill, and you'd see training visibly rise by 5% because everybody would just up it a bit, you know. Whereas with Ivan, training was enjoyable. You had a laugh, and you know, like. Listen, you're young guys. You want to go to your work and enjoy it. You know, I think if you're enjoying something, you're going to get more out of it. You know, and it was just so relaxed and it's just like you go out and play. You know, we Jim, he knew everything about every team, and you know, whereas Ivan he believes that if we played well, we'd beat the other team.
Yeah.
You know,
he had some great clips as well. You know, it's the things like when he said, "Oh, you know, Rangers didn't want to get us. They could play anybody else, but they didn't want us." And it was like,
sometimes you'd be in the dressing room.
Yeah, I know. You're being the other team a wee bit motivation.
Saturday here, and you've just stirred them up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was times you thought, "What are you doing?" And there was other times that it worked.
Was it no on the morning of the game at Ibrox? We won 3-0. Did he know in the papers he was saying that the Rangers are old? They're not up to much these days.
Wouldn't have been like him. Things like that, and you'd be thinking, what are you doing? You know, you've gone there.
They're obviously affected them a wee bit.
Well, aye, maybe the world that day, you know.
Yeah.
And even before the cup final, it was bizarre. Friday night, we went down and stayed in East Kilbride, and Hamilton Racing was on. And he's saying to the boys, go to the racing if you want. I'm not going to racing. I'm just going to lie in my bed all day and just chill. And then at night, we went down for dinner, and he's like, the boys, right, you can have a couple of pints. And I'm like, you fucking kid me. One of the boys like, you having a pint? I'm like, no chance. I says, there's no way I'm having a pint. I says, if I have a pint, I says, I'll end up in a nightclub in East Kilbride or something. I says, no, I says, I'm going up to my bed. But Sports Scene or somebody was...
That's right, they were at the team hotel.
For the team hotel. Yeah. Some of the boys had to do a wee bit of that, but no, I just went up and sat in my room, and as I said...
It paid off.
Well, I've spoke to a couple of older players, and they always says that Wee Jim impacted on them. They should have won more than what they won, you know, because it was that intense. You know, like
it was also that hoodoo, the Hampden hoodoo was what kept getting thrown about.
Yeah, and listen, speaking to, I mean, before the cup final, I was convinced we were going to win it. There was, innocence of youth and whatever, you know, but I'm thinking, we'll beat them. We did a really good side. People don't realise that. See, when you look at that side now, you think, hell, that was a proper team. Rangers were a proper team as well. They were going for back-to-back trebles.
That's right, yeah.
I spoke to Malpass and Bowman, and I'm saying, did you think we would win? They're saying, we didn't know, and I'm saying, I couldn't see us getting beat. But they'd been to 3 or 4, you know, so they'd lost.
Well, it was was that the 7th time?
And I'd been to a lot of their games as well. I'd been in 85.
The worst one was the 91. The Motherwell 4-3 was absolutely sick.
The St Mirren one as well, because you just... It was horrible because it was in between the 2 Gothenburg games as well, and the boys were on the... Guys were dead in their feet. They'd probably played 60, 70 games that year, and there wasn't this rotation in their days, you know, which I quite agree with. I don't... If I'm playing well, I don't want to be rotated. I want to be in the team every week. I want to be playing Saturday, Tuesday, you know. In their days, if you were winning, the team just picked itself, you know. It was only when you were struggling that the team would change. That was the way it was.
The big thing is a lot of people forget the 94 because they won the Scottish Cup, which is amazing. But some of the games, like going to Ibrox winning 3-0 and some of the great performances, but the Scottish Cup run was just incredible. Yeah. People sometimes forget we had the 3 replays with the replay Airdrie.
Stole the show.
But you were dropped, weren't you?
Yeah.
You came off. 20 million man.
I came on for Jet. By the way, did you know? See, there was a thing on Twitter today, and it's a photo. I think it's Big Petrich with.
Is it Jaron
Nixon? And it says it's Brewster and Jason DeVos.
Yeah, I know.
You couldn't get any more wrong than that, could you?
So you come on for the 20 million man.
I came on
again. There's Ivan. 20 million.
No, I know.
So what were you worth then?
Obviously know that. But no, I came on the quarters. Wee Crabble broke his leg.
We've spoke about this on the I didn't remember it, but it was taking a free kick is what we...
Well, no, that time. He broke his... Well,
I don't know, because I was kind of... I wasn't playing at that point. I don't know. I'd probably done something.
He broke his leg in the Motherwell game.
I don't know. I can't.
I think it was the Motherwell game.
But he broke his leg on that run.
Yeah, that's right.
But that then let me back in. So somebody's misfortune is somebody else's fortune, you know. But as I say, but also the week before the cup final, I was suspended and we played Raith Rovers out there, and it was a nothing game. I think the league I think Raith were maybe doing or something, but Raith battered the 3-0. And it's probably the one time that I've sat in the crowd thinking, I hope we don't do well today, you know, because
your places.
Well, and it's horrible because I always supported, you know, if I wasn't playing, it was usually through. I used to blame my managers not at the time, but I look back now with a bit of experience, and if I wasn't playing, it was usually my fault, you know. I wasn't playing well, or I'd done something or whatever, you know. But when you're young, it's always the coach's fault or the manager's fault or whatever. And then
I still remember being Motherwell away when Welsh scores, and even when it's lying up to him, even when I watch it back now, I go, "There's no chance he scored."
I know.
I'm sure all the players thought there's no chance he scored.
I stayed next door to Big Welsh and Monty Fife at that point, and he came back up the road that night. And as I say, I wasn't even in the squad. And then the Airdrie game came along. First game drew 1 each, I think, down at Broomfield.
Brewster got sent off.
0-0.
Was it 0-0 or well, whatever? And then I came on the replay, scored and set up the other one, and then that was me back in, and the rest is history.
And then obviously we spoke about it a couple of weeks ago, maybe even last week. The semi-final against Aberdeen, when we play John Burridge, who's about 80 years old at the time, has the game of his life, and you actually thought after Guido's mistake, you thought that was it.
Well, I hit the post with a header, and then there's another header as well that he was going the wrong way and get back to it, and it was one of these kind of quite scrappy games, wasn't it? And then Big Welshie pops up in the last minute. But it's just shame when you look back at that draw. Sometimes they say your name's on the cup, don't they? You know, like Motherwell, last minute, you know, we're equalising. Even Arbroath, I think it was Arbroath. Is it East Fife at the start?
No, I played Arbroath and we were lucky to get through.
3-2, I think they won that as well. So there was sometimes your name's on the cup, but then you listen. See, when we go to Hampden, as I say, I told all my pals to bet us and everything that we were going to win, and you know. And,
do you remember watching Jim McInnes' slow motion attempts in the replay, waiting for the ball,
winding it up?
Yeah,
unbelievable.
But against things like that, the replay of Hampden, it was barely empty there.
No,
horrible.
But there was probably 15,000 there, but because it's you know, it
just looks sparse.
They could have took it to Tynecastle or Easter Road, which I'm probably glad about anyway, you know, because I've lost a few cup finals in Edinburgh, semi-finals. I mean, we get beat with Hibs. Those Dan Jackson beat us and scored
at Tynecastle. I minded that.
And then the one that really sticks was the one Kilmarnock won 97, because we played them at.
They won the cup that year, did they?
We played them in the semis at Easter Road, and the pitch was fucking shocking. It was terrible, and we drew nothing each, and it was a horrible game. And see, if we'd have took them to a decent part, we'd have beat them. We did a really good side then, and we used to win it that year, you know. But they took a semi-final at Easter Road, and the pitch was terrible. We couldn't get the ball down and play it, and Kilmarnock they just made it scrappy and bitty. And Jim McIntyre scored a goal, but that was the one that I believe we should have won the cup that year as well.
Yeah, after for the final. When you look back now, or even on the day, no one had a bad game. No. You know, no one bad game. Everyone up for it. I think the right back still looking for you when you turn them inside out.
Mr. Murray.
Where were you at the goal? Can you remember much of the goal?
I can remember. Christian hit the post, and it came back to Brewster, and Christian ran away, and I went to Christian, and I went to jump on him, and basically jumped right at him. So I went to jump on his back and just sprung right at him. So that's me and Christian kind of celebrated. But it's 1-0, so it's not like, oh, that's us, we've won the cup, you know. We've still got work to do here, you know. It's still
Guido's save was from Mikalichenko. I mentioned that last week. It's just superb.
But even we actually had a penalty in the first half.
I would discuss that as well.
That's just two of them.
Well,
two of them.
Foul for the front and the back.
Had a couple of crosses on as well. Christian maybe, but as I say, you don't really remember the game. You just remember going up at the end, don't you?
What was the feeling like going up? Not as the runner-up for a change
honestly,
for United.
Well, listen. See, to be fair, I was always used to winning cup finals with Dundee United because for under 13, under 14, we'd won everything. You know, we'd won youth cups, we'd won. You know, so it wasn't. Well, it was obviously new at Hampden and whatever, but it was amazing. I went up after Mo Bo and Jimmy Mack went up, and I was fourth up, and because Scottish Cups. See, as a kid growing up, it was a massive day, wasn't it? You know, I'd grew up 5 minutes for Hampden, you know, so I'd been to lots of cup finals. We used to just go down and sneak in. So Scottish Cup final day was a massive thing, and they won that at 20. I remember Malpass saying to me before the game, take everything in, because you don't know when you were back. And
you thought it'd be doing it next year.
Well, that's what I think. He's 20-year-old, didn't he? You think,
this is normal.
Yeah. Never got to play in another one.
And the next day in the City Square was amazing. I'm imagining after the game, between there and there, was just chaos. There's a lot of people with sunglasses on that next day. I wonder why.
I never had sunglasses. I was still drunk. I'd come out after the game. My wife was my girlfriend at the time, and 3 of my mates. And my mum and that, so I've come out and my wife was my youngest, he wasn't at the game. She was going back down to her grand's to pick the boy up, so I'm like, my 3 mates, we're going up with Dundee. So the 3 of us jumped in the car, went up to the pub that used to drink in Castlemilk to see all the boys. Walked in and place erupted, got a carry out and then up with Dundee, and went to walk into it was in the old Earl Grey, doing it.
With the Hilton.
And I went to walk in and the bouncer's like, players and officials only. And I'm like, I ran the show.
Still got my shin guards on. What is that?
Malpass came out, he's like, what's up? I was like, he's saying I can't get in. And then, I'm going to be honest, the rest of the night's
a blur.
Next day was amazing. Getting through, you get on a bus down at the Earl Grey, down at the Hilton, and you're driving up and you're thinking, I'm not meant to be here, and then you turned the corner and it was just I see a tangerine and grown men crying and it was then that you realise what you'd done. For me, you know, it was then that people on roofs, I'll never forget, it was about 4 or 5 boys up
on the Cairtall roof, weren't they?
That's right. I remember waving up to them. It was Shaggy and that. It was a few boys that I knew. And they're telling me to come back to a party, and I'm like, I'll be 10 minutes.
Just wait till I put this cup down.
But as I say, that was when you notice, you knew what you'd done. You knew the achievement of it, and because you've seen the people.
You see what it meant to them.
Men crying and people that had been to 7 cup finals, you know, and you hear all the stories. People's dads had died a couple of weeks, all the kind of stories, you know, and it really gets you, you know. That's when, for me, it really hit home.
Before we finish off, a couple of other just questions I want to throw out and just get your reaction. So we go for the height of the Scottish Cup, then get relegated, but we always talk about the Partick playoff and that kind of, how different a feeling is that compared to the Scottish Cup? Because it was as important for us being...
it was really important. It was brilliant. I mean, I think that was one of my best games at Tannadice, I'm going to be honest. I just wasn't having us getting beat that night. It was just... I must have put 30, 40 crosses in the box, and, you know, it was just one of the games, you know. But I didn't want another year in the first division. I didn't think we were too good to be doing it. I mean, it's even a year we went doing it was bizarre, because I never ever thought we were in danger until we went up to Pittodrie, the second last game of the season, get beat. And I'm thinking, because if we'd have won one game for about March, it was like something silly.
We were okay, yeah.
We just got into one of the runs where just nothing was happening. And then, as I say, the Thistle game was unbelievable. You know, Tannadice, proper jumping. The emotion there, just even after the game, the pitch invasion. And
were you on?
Yeah, I was on. I was in the I was in the stand at the time, just sort of a couple of rows back and just.
Why not?
Everybody. I was on.
Probably clothesline somebody.
I was on the back. I was on boys' shooters and everything, and then I came out and done a lap on, and it was amazing. It was because that was us. And then the following season was amazing as well. We finished third. I think we went about 17 games unbeaten.
Yeah, was that with Tommy McLean?
Tommy McLean.
Yeah.
Well, Ivan gets Billy Kirkwood gets like 6 games or something with a bad start, and then Tommy came in and we just clicked.
Yeah.
And we brought in the three Scandinavians.
Pedersen, Zetterland,
Aye,
Big Shell,
and we Eric.
Well, that was it. You were looking at Olofsson, McSwigan, Winters, McLaren. It's not a bad option.
Aye, and you'd Coyley as well there as well. You'd a proper team, because when we went in, we spent. We brought in Big Elvis.
What an Elvis? £750,000 in the first division.
Yeah.
And we spoke about the money that's been spent on this podcast so many times back in the day. It was frightening.
Yeah. Well,
£750,000.
Ali Maxwell, 300-400 grand as well. Then you'd Coyley, Swiggy, all these guys came in. Sandy Robertson was part of the Elvis.
Come in for a $250,000 as well, which was just crazy. Yeah. After that, you kind of go. You get a Scotland cap, Kilmarnock and stuff, which is a huge kind of honour after all the other problems with it and the troubles you were having. But you come back to United.
Yeah.
What a dressing room! Billy Dodds, Barry Robson, Jim McIntyre, Jason Scotland, Derek McInnes, and some boy you might know called Charlie Miller. Quiet time.
Aye, it was a good dressing room. Good team that as well.
Good team.
We should have done better, I believe.
Yeah. Barry Robson has always said that about that team. Should have done better.
We should have done better.
Yeah.
The first year, I came in about 3 or 4 games in. I'd just left Kilmarnock. I was meant to sign with Hibs, but I don't think the chairman at the time liked me. So I signed, and I came in about 3-4 games into the season, and McInnes always goes on about it. He says it's the best line he's ever. I just swung the changing room door open and says, "Right, boys, panic's over. We'll be in the top 5 for Christmas." And half the boys didn't know me, but and then, to be fair, we did a really good season after that. I think we finished 4th or 5th, but we're always playing catch up, and then. First season done really well, beat Rangers, with loads of big results, and then McCall changed it. He brought in James Grady, and I think me and Jimmy Mack had done really well, and I kind of get binned, and that was kind of.
I'm assuming it was quiet with you and Charlie, right?
Oh, it was. I used to stay up in Charlie's on a Friday night.
And what a player, by the way.
I was speaking to Charlie today. I speak to him these days. He was unbelievable. Like we play a lot of charity games, and even nowadays. I love playing with him, I just laugh sometimes about because you just fire it into him anywhere and he just controls it,
He was
so technically he was, and he stood in. He's no disrespect, but he probably shouldn't have been at Dundee United. He should have been playing at a top club.
Yeah, he must know that himself.
Aye,
and I heard United's my team, but he probably should have done a lot better throughout his career.
100%. But good for you guys. You've got to see.
Aye. He was
genius,
superb.
I mean?
And you were inducted in the Hall of Fame, United, in 2016.
Unbelievable, aye. Listen, that was amazing. As I say, you think you've made an impact, and then you come up and you see the names on that board. If you'd have told me that when I first came here in 1989, that you'd been in the Hall of Fame, I wouldn't have believed you. And that's something that I'm very, very proud of. I'm going to be honest. It's something that nobody's ever going to be able to take away as well. About that board, and to have that, to have people still think of you that way is amazing.
Yeah.
Dundee Derby coming up. Any memories?
Aye, first one I scored the winner. Beat them 1-0
into that goal.
Yeah.
Then he thought of the East Stand goal.
Well, it was getting built at the time.
The place where the East Stand wasn't even there. That shows how long ago it was. Scored a header. Big Mark Perry headed one back. We won 1-0. And we always did good. We always beat Dundee. We always. I can't remember losing many derbies, to be fair. But they were always great occasions. I think that day, Bo gets sent off. I don't like him.
No,
that's unusual.
Don't believe you.
He gets sent off, and we were kind of. No, we weren't hanging on, but we won 1-0. So my first ever Dundee derby, 1-0 winning and
scored the winner.
So that was good.
That's all right, isn't it? Since retiring, what are you up to now? What do you got up to?
I did have a charity for 10-12 years, but I left that about a year and a half ago. Just things changed, people changed, and I've just moved on. So I'm doing some of this stuff to kind of trying to do a wee bit more after dinner stuff. I'm doing a wee bit of work with big Chris Boyd's charity, kind of mental health stuff, obviously my own experiences. And I do a bit getting into schools and kind of colleges and stuff. And Davey talks to him about my career and obviously the pitfalls.
Have any clubs never reached out to you?
No, I keep saying, you know, listen, as a 16, 17-year-old kid, me, an ex-player coming in, I mean, we'd guys coming in, but they weren't football players, you know, so it's football's kind of insular that way, you know. How does she know? But, you know, so... No, but I'd love to get in every youth team in Scotland, as I say, and go in and tell them about my experience. All you need for one kid to take something.
Yeah, and it's made a difference.
It's made a difference, you know. I would have loved something like that when I was younger. Maybe somebody he understands me. He you know. So it's something that I keep banging on about, but nobody's taking me up on it. So
and
like a waste.
Just before we come on as well, you said you're still playing and you've got an interesting draw in the next round of a cup.
Yes, I play over 35s and I play with Easter Craigs, a team just in Glasgow, and we've got Dundee United supporters club or whatever, and the next round I think it's around about the 30th of September, so I'm looking forward to coming back out to Dundee again for that in a couple of weeks.
Well, me and Ronnie are rooting for you that night, okay?
I know.
Yeah. Andy, it's been an absolute pleasure.
No problem, Ronnie.
Thanks very much for...
what about sorting out that we were having an argument about Trabzonspor, because I was thinking back, and I was at the game, not sure if Ronnie was at the game, but I was like, Andy McLaren scored that game, a header. He was doubting it.
No.
I wasn't doubting your goal scoring prowess.
No.
I
scored a header. That was another night at Tannadice. I've got a DVD. I've maybe brought it up tonight, but it's kind of highlights. It's only 5-minute DVD. The highlights of my career, but it's a lot of goals, and one of them's a header against what a header it was.
It's a great header. Yeah, you were doubting me.
I was.
Tannadice, because the game had been held up that night. It was a typical European night, you know, and.
It was a beautiful sunny night. It was packed.
The place was packed, and that goes back to 1-0. That goes one each in aggregate, and then I think they scored late on.
Yeah,
but they had a proper team as well.
They were a good team.
The left back had played in the World Cup just before that. I think Turkey had finished third that year, so the Turkish game was, you know, we used to get stick. I remember we get put out with Europe. I mean, we get put out with Europe with Tatran Press-off, and people were. It was a disaster, but. 6 or 7 of the guys went and played in the Bundesliga, and the big boy Varga played with Celtic. Remember him? He played in that team. You know, so they were nae.
They had John Shark's Missy though. They did have him.
Let's not go there. Let's finish on a good note.
Okay.
Andy, it's been a pleasure. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Ronnie. Thanks a lot.
So there you go, Andy McLaren joining us before the Q&A on Friday. It's been very hard to keep that one quiet as a bit of a surprised, despite when people were coming into the Q&A, saw us and asked us about it, and I had to totally
What's going on? Nothing's going on.
But Andy, thank you very much, absolute gentleman, and like you say, he's up here in a few weeks in a Scottish Cup game.
Yeah, so we should round up a squad, go and heckle him, because he's playing against United, so let's give him hell on that touchline.
So that's what it is. Right, moving on. International call-ups this week. A couple of the young boys, a couple of the young team.
The young boys, Banks and Mockery, have both been called up by Scotland under 19s and under 17s respectively, so that effectively rules them out of playing in the Garibaldi, Jamie Dodger, Custard Cream Biscuit Cup against Arbroath in a couple of weeks. I guarantee
you'll get the name right if you get a free one as you walk in.
Oh, obvious. And I'll be saluting it.
Yes, so well done to them. Something else from Tannadice, I think it was earlier in the week, but we mentioned Tannadice upgrades to the tune of £250,000.
That's a lot of dosh
going on. Mal Brannigan talking at the start of the week. Loads of stuff going on.
Yeah, well, I think there was the breakdown, I'm not entirely certain of, but I think there was numbers quoted to say it was 100 grand was spent on the Eddie Thompson stand and the refurbishment of the executive lounge and the captain's suite underneath the Jerry Kerr stand, which I'm hoping that's finished because it's supposed to be open for the derby on Friday. They've also done the new ticketing system. They've installed a fibre optic ring covering the whole stadium. The shop was kind of slightly upgraded as well, just with the tills and the point of service. As for the ticketing system though, I've heard a few stories of the teething problems, but I feel like the ease with which you can now purchase a ticket has definitely helped in selling out this derby. Definitely, I mean,
without a doubt,
it was sold out halfway through last week.
Yep.
And that's still over a week and a half, 10 days to the game. It's just phenomenal. It's phenomenal. So hats off to the Ogrins for putting their hand in their pocket. I dare say when we sell Sir Lawrence in a couple of years, or whenever we sell them, they're probably going to get all their money back.
Yeah,
but
probably.
You know what? You got to speculate to accumulate, and they have put the money where their mouth was, and it's fantastic that they're taking care of Tannadice.
Yeah, definitely.
Bringing it up to speed.
There's nothing really in the rumour mill. New signings, players leaving. We'll just jump into the loan report. Declan Glass and Matty Smith both started in Cove's 2-1 win, albeit still in Albion. Matty's getting the second goal of the game.
Who got the first?
Fraser Fivey got the first.
Fraser Fivey.
Fivey got the first.
Right.
And Alison Jones didn't appear for Broughty Athletic. They were beaten 4-0 by Lochee United.
That's why they got beat, because they never put their United star on.
Lochee United, they're my dad's team. Just mention that's who he goes to watch mostly. It's Lochee United. And so that was them. They haven't featured in there, but Declan doing really well, and it'd be good if Matty gets some games and some goals up there as well.
It was mentioned, just as we're touching on the loan report, it was mentioned at the Q&A because I kind of asked a question saying, look, you're thinking of... Well, somebody previously asked a question, and it was Elliot Freer's name was mentioned. So I said to Robbie, where does that leave boys like Banks and Chalmers? Because currently we've got Nicky Clark as our left midfielder, and you've got Paul up behind him. So Banks and Chalmers aren't even getting a look in, and yet we're still looking to bring in an extra left midfielder if the rumours are true. And he basically said, well, look, these guys are at such a stage in their development where they're not going to play any more than 10 games this season for us. So he never expanded on that, and I didn't get the chance to then say, how is that just like your hunch? What are you basing that on? All the sports science and the metrics and whatever they're capable of. So I don't know if he's maybe got it in his mind to get these boys out on loan.
Possibly, yeah. Possibly. Wouldn't do them any harm.
No, they need games. They need games. I say that every bloody week.
And again, depending on what's on the episodes, we'll do more kind of look at some other stuff. The reserves, of course, a really strong reserve side. Played at the start of the week and done really well, won 5-2. Osman getting a hat-trick. Ian Hark's played. Adam King played and stuff like that. But obviously it's been out for a wee while.
It was a
busy
strong
show.
reserve team.
Yeah, and by the way, the under-18s beat Dundee 3-0 on Friday. We mentioned that at the Q&A.
We did.
That went down pretty well.
It went down
that was
very
all right.
well.
So, so from week to week, we'll do more on the reserves or the youths and stuff, just depending on what's on. But obviously, it's a longer episode this week because we had Silver Kissing McLaren with us for a good 50 minutes. But moving on, a couple of more things still to get through. You've got an update on Ryan McInnes.
I do, yeah. That was the young player that got injured over in Ireland when representing United in the tournament over there a couple of weeks back. So he had a hole in his eardrum, but that's now cleared up, thankfully. There is, however, still some fluid behind his ear, which is causing him occasional dizziness. So he's been given medication to hopefully clear that up. But the doctors are happy with his improvement, and he's on the road to full fitness. It's looking like he'll miss the academy team's next few games, but he's penciled in the wee, or should that really be like the weeest, Dundee derby in 3 weeks' time for his comeback. But speaking as a parent, I hope he doesn't rush back, but if he does, I completely understand that. He'll be champing at the bit to get back into that beautiful tangerine jersey. Yeah,
get well soon, Ryan. Good to hear you're kind of on that road to full recovery. The Jim McLean Statue Fund, that is now owed over £35,000 plus an additional £3,000 through gift aid so far. You, of course, can get more details on Steering Group and all that kind of stuff on Twitter, Facebook, and everything else. Because we're recording this Sunday morning, it's before the women's team play, but they are back in action. They had a Meet the Players week all last week. You can get up to date going on their Twitter page. It's Dundee United WFC for all that. And we hope when this goes out, we are saying well done.
Because they've thrashed Glasgow girls. That's what we're hoping.
Yes.
The one thing that I noticed about when they were releasing all the players, I think they only released maybe 10 or 11 of them, but the oldest player was 22. It's a really young team they've got. A really young team. So, stick together and fingers crossed they can, as I said a couple of weeks ago when we first spoke about them, they're probably more fighting to stay in this league than to get out of this league this season, certainly. But looking at the ages, they're not going to get any worse. They're going to get better as they progress together, hopefully. So good luck to the girls.
Yep, definitely. And final thing for the week, as always, we will finish on this day. We've already mentioned one of the games, Andy McLaren's header against Trabzonspor, much to the delight of Paul. So we will move on.
I told you.
We'll move on. In 2006, we won 3-1 against St Mirren. Barry Robson got a double. Stuart Duff also scored. In 2010, we played in the Europa League. It was the third qualifying round, second leg, away to AEK Athens. I had a lot of mates who went to that. I don't know why I didn't. God, that'd have been a great wee trip.
Yeah, one of my buddies, Starkers, went to that game.
Yeah.
Yep.
That'd have been a good week.
There was hardly anybody at the game because there was not played in basically an empty stadium.
Yeah, because it got moved loads of times.
Bar like 500 crazy lunatics for Dundee.
Standard. Yeah. A John Daly goal wasn't enough as we went out 2-1 on aggregate. That's it in terms of games. Let's say a bit shorter one this week. No birthdays today, but we do have
a notable signing.
A very, very notable, infamous, surprise, random signing.
Okay.
Cast your mind back to 1991, if you're old enough. Jim McLean signed the flying Argentinian winger, Walter Rojas.
And did he not beat off like Italian competition to get Walter Rojas?
Who knows? Signed for a reported £200,000, which apparently then, years later, it was revealed it was a performance-related thing, but I don't know. And his one appearance in Tangerine was in the reserves. Never actually played in the first team. He suffered a thigh injury, and a few weeks after he arrived, actually, Victor Ferreira joined him.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. So he only played in the reserves.
I remember him, as I'm sure most United fans remember him. But I was actually at that reserve game. It was on a Saturday afternoon against Aberdeen, and I can remember we were wearing the Bukta strip. I think it was Belhaven we were sponsored by at that time. And I remember him running down the wing where the Dode Fox stand is now, and thinking, Christ, that boy's fairly fast. But he never had the ball at his feet at this point. But he just looks really fast. And I think he maybe got, I think it was a couple of passes to him. Nothing much come of it. And then, I didn't even think he lasted that whole game. But this is obviously the part of the podcast where I'm channel my inner defence lawyer, and I've got to say, he was unlucky or he was unfortunate or whatever. But
standard. But
I just can't do that this week. He was absolutely rank rotten. He was. I think we signed the wrong guy, if I'm being honest.
He was allegedly a 10 times capped under 21 international, and his nickname was El Explosivo.
El Gooden. He was a red rotten. He was not a football player.
Yeah, well, he did return to Argentina in the November of that year. He only signed in the August. And rumours were going to circulate that United had in fact signed the wrong player.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. No other part of the story makes as much sense as that makes sense, because he wasn't a football player.
And given what has went on over the years and the rumours you hear of not seeing many players play beforehand, and this is pre-YouTube, but United had never seen Walter Rojas play before.
Yeah.
And giving on that one appearance.
Or since, or ever seen him play, because he was honking that first game.
Never did play. So there we go, another infamous signing in the history of our illustrious club.
Yeah. We don't make mistakes, we just learn.
So there we go. Episode number 9 is done. We are in
double figures next week.
Amazingly into that with a review of the derby on Friday night.
Please be a good one. Please be a good one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, indeed.
Our buddy Jono, he's coming up for it.
Jono is up on it. Yeah, he's coming up. His other half had shared a picture on Instagram of a Turkish delight this week. She was enjoying it at work, and I swiftly texted them and said, I don't think that'll go down on Friday. It will be a Nichols pie and a bovril.
Yeah, you wouldn't get into Tannadice with Turkish delight in your pocket, I'm afraid.
I wouldn't let anyone in my house.
No, if I was the steward, you wouldn't be getting in.
No. So, yep, join us up. Doesn't get too many games, and what a first game to pick.
It's a cracker. It's a cracker. You should go first for the year's score prediction this week, 'cause it's usually me. You put me on the spot. I'm throwing it at you.
I am not.
Stop shaking your head.
I'm not going there this week. I'm going for a home win, and that is all that matters.
Okay.
Are you
2-1 United
shankling with both again?
With all three.
Oh no!
Someone's going to hit his forehead in Dundee's half, and I'll head back in his end goal. No, I think we'll win 2-1.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Really, I mean, I'm going to have to move myself up the stair into the gantry to jump around like a lunatic this week.
From what I know of Dundee this season, they haven't been great, but playing us might actually suit them in a strange way, because they won't have to be the team that opens up to try and get at the opposition, because I would imagine we're going to play fairly open, so it should be a cracker of a game, to be honest with you. But we've got momentum. I may be biased, but I feel like we've got the best team, certainly on form.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm just seeing nothing but a win, to be honest with you.
As always, thank you very much for getting in touch with the podcast throughout the week. Like and share, and you can rate and review on Apple Podcasts, which does really help. So thank you very much to everyone who has given us a rating. We've kind of flirted in amongst the top 100 on Apple Podcasts the past couple of weeks. So
mental.
It's indeed mental. But like we say at the top of the show, tell an Arab about the podcast. They might not already know, even if they say, I'm not into podcasts. Let them listen to it. You've got a bumper episode this week, and thank you very much for listening to it. Our thanks to Andy McLaren for giving us up some of his time before the Q&A on Friday. It was an absolute delight to speak to him, and then again at the Q&A as well. As always, we are at Toad Fox Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and we will be back, as Paul said, in double figures next week for the podcast from myself and Paul. Do enjoy the derby, and we'll catch you next week.